Hi, this is Steve from yourcreativelife.com talking today about rewrites, how to revise your opus with a methodology that might work for you. I've gotten this question a lot about what do I do and what are the steps to begin to do some rewriting on my script. As you may have heard, and lots of people believe, and I believe too, writing is rewriting. I think that it's always great to sort of dump something out, to have a draft, to have something with which you can revise and change and shift things around, because that's really the process that's going to get you where you want to be with your script. Usually it's not going to pop out of your head fully formed in any way that's going to make a whole lot of sense or be your best effort. And so rewriting and having a methodology becomes really clear and really important for all of us who are out there writing stuff. So, in order to talk a little bit about my rewriting process, I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you a little bit of what my brain space is like when I do my rewriting. So, here I am on my remarkable tablet. And let's say I've worked on a script and I know that there are a couple of things that I want to handle and change in the script. One of them, let's say, is humor. I've gotten some notes about whether or not the humor is tight and I want it to be tighter and better. Another thing is I want to focus, somebody has mentioned the relationships in my script, and I agree that those could use some tightening. And I guess I'll come up with a third thing, which might be this notion perhaps of more action. Now, the first thing I want to say is whenever I get feedback from people, the first thing I'm going to do is to try to figure out which things really apply to me, because people could say all sorts of things, but maybe or maybe not, those things are relevant to me. And so these are the things that I've decided in this particular exercise are relevant to the things that I want to do and I want to change and revise. And I will make a list like this of what they are, and then I will decide what that means. So humor, I'm going to say, okay, so humor is in, let's see, there are actually some moments throughout there where I can add the humor, right? So relationships, I'm going to say there's, Ted and Alice, and Bob and Jim, and maybe Sam and Jesse. And again, I'm just, making this up off the top of my head. In terms of action, I'm going to say, hey, I think I can add action in the hospital scene and the family dinner, and again in the highway scene. Okay. And again, so here I am. I've taken all of the main things and I've decided what I can do with them in a more specific way. I've sort of broken them out. And now I'm going to decide which ones I'm going to do first. Let's say, I feel like I'm going to make humor number one. And I'm going to go through my script page by page and look for opportunities to add more humor. I've decided I'm going to do that first. And so that's my first thing. I'm just going to take a pass at doing that. Then I'm going to look back at the relationships. Well, actually, let me go to the action second, because perhaps that's easier for me, and I'll make that number two. And so then I'm going to, when I go through those scenes to try to think of where I can put more action, I'm going to brainstorm on the hospital scene first, and maybe the highway scene second, and then the family dinner scene third. And I'm going to begin to think about what might come up in those scenes where I can put action. Somebody slugs somebody across the table, somebody falls off a gurney in the hospital scene, somebody jumps out of a car in the highway scene. I'm just going to begin to brainstorm what those things are. And I'm deciding I'm going to tackle these things in a particular order. And then last but not least, I'm going to go to the relationships. And perhaps I'm going to start with Bob and Jim, because maybe they are the easiest. And I've already got some ideas on what their relationship might be in terms of, tackling that. and then I'm going to go to Sam and Jesse, and then I'm going to go to Ted and Alice. And I'm basically making sort of a punch card, kind of a list of things I want to do in order based on based on the thoughts of the things that I've been interested in changing based on those comments that I've gotten from people. So then I will create that list. I might write it this way. I might do a checklist. I might write it out in Microsoft Word. I might print it out. Who knows? And then I'm just going to go thing by thing by thing. Like it's like whatever, cleaning your office. I'm going to start with the closet first, and then I'm going to go to the bookshelf, and then I'm going to do the recycling. And, I just make a list and I go through to my satisfaction and, give it whatever it takes. Maybe it's a whole day on the relationship stuff, or maybe it's a whole week on the relationship stuff, or maybe it's 15 minutes or an hour or a few hours or a few days, just depends on the amount of time I have and if there's a deadline. And that's the way I'm going to tackle my rewrites. I'm going to go through each section, each item. I'm going to read through and fix and change, and then say to myself, done for now, and move on to the next, and move on to the next, and move on to the next. And when I've done all those things, then I'm going to reread the whole thing again and see how it flows, and ask myself questions about, do these things work now that I've changed things? Do they reflect with other things? Are there things in here that I left out? All of that. And then I'm going to go back to another round of reaching out to people that I know and care about, who I trust as readers, to give me a new sense of how the new version works with the new items added. And that's the way I do rewrites. That's what I would suggest for you, a really organized, kind of uniform way to move through your script, make changes and renovations in those spaces where you think they're useful, and then go on to the next, and go on to the next, and go on to the next. And one of the things that I've learned, which I've talked about in another video, is having deadlines is really key, because it just gives you a chance to not tinker forever, but really to say, I'm going to drop in a day on this, an hour on this, a week on this, 2 days on this, whatever it is, so that you can make your deadline and continue to move your script and your writing ahead. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Check out yourcreativelife.com, which is the hub for all things coaching, where you can find out how I can help you in your writing life. You can also sign up for the free newsletter and find a link to the Secret Writer podcast, our podcast, which talks about all things writing from the inside, the inner game of writing. And then subscribe to this channel, because I post brand new videos every week to help you become your best professional TV screenwriter, Hollywood or otherwise, person who can make the kind of art that changes the world. That's what it's all about. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.